Good morning, listeners, and welcome to NYC Radio Broadcast. Today, we will be interviewing none other than Alphonse Gabriel Capone, aka Al Capone. He was an American gangster and businessman who attained notoriety during the Prohibition era as the co-founder and boss of the Chicago outfit. His reign as crime boss ended when he was 33. Today, we're speaking to him in jail, in person. Let's hear about his experiences. Please introduce yourself, Mr. Capone.
The name's Al Capone, but they call me Scarface.
So how did you become so infamous?
I'm like any other man. All I do is supply demand. I became well known for my underground bootlegging scene.
How did you learn the trade?
I dropped out of 6th grade to join the local street gang. I learned to control industries like speakeasies, brothels, gambling houses, and places like that.
How long did the reign last for?
About 7 years before I got caught and was brought here.
We've got word on the latest Gold Rush premiere, The General, a silent film. Wow, no words. That must be fun. And then news on the 19th Amendment, the woman's right to vote. Should we really be giving that to them? And the greatest birth in history, Mickey Mouse. Thanks, Walt Disney. And on another note, the stock market collapse. Well, that sounds not good. That must suck.
So, Al, historians always remember you for your bootlegging kingdom during the 20s. Obviously, it was illegal to produce alcohol during the Prohibition, so how were you able to get away with it without getting in trouble?
The cops definitely knew what was going on. I knew that money was the answer. I would often pay the jury and or judge to either not show up or just rule in favor of me. Sometimes I had cops working for me. It wasn't many of them, but their presence definitely helped us stay away from the law. They never said anything like that to get us in trouble. In fact, I'd often have the cops do the delivering.
How did their presence help, and how did you trust them?
Well, if you have cops within the system, not only will you learn the shortcuts to getting out of things, but if you have a cop, especially a powerful and respected one, cops probably won't mess with you. A lot of cops also know the consequences of locking someone up like me. The neighborhood is going to go after that cop. Money, power, and fear are 3 big things that help stay out of jail.
So, what happens that historians now call the St. Valentine's Day Massacre? 7 people were killed that day. Could you explain that?
It was all business. I wanted my guys to take care of a problem I was having with someone. Something needed to be done, and it was done the right way. Moron. My guys did what had to be done.
And what about the trust?
Like I said, they know the consequences. They know what will happen.
Do you know why the 18th Amendment was passed?
Of course I do. A lot of times guys would get completely wasted, go home and beat their wives.
So why did you continue to make it?
Well, it's all about the money. Plus, nothing is going to get people to stop drinking. People will find a way to get it. The laws are stupid, too. So tell me this. It's illegal to produce alcohol, but it's illegal to drink it? What? Does that make much sense? If they plan on making production illegal, make drinking illegal as well. Also, did you know some states didn't care about the prohibition? They didn't care if you produced it or not.
Do you know what those states were?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I never really cared to know which ones either way.
Yeah, I guess you didn't. So, anyways, how did the police ever catch the bootlegging act?
They didn't get me for that. The government got me for tax evasion. It's funny how I got caught for a small thing instead of big things like bootlegging.
And what about the meaning of being an American? How did your work change that?
Well, people always broke the law, and they always will. I just raised the level and the stakes, made it a lot more than just about the alcohol. It's about the money, power, and loyalty. American society runs on these, and people see that now.
So, now that we talked about this stuff almost everyone knows, let's talk about your good side.
Finally! I was starting to worry whether or not you wanted to talk about my generous side.
Well, I do tell you, old sport, that stale cigarettes are a thing of the past. Camel cigarettes are fresh and burst with a real taste. It will satisfy your needs more than a lousy Marlboro. Those who smoke Camels can tell you just how fresh our cigarettes are. They are made with only the freshest and most natural ingredients and not toasted or parched once. The freshness lasts from the time they leave our factory to when the smoke enters your lungs. A Camel cigarette burns smooth and cool and will last longer than any other cigarette with its gentle, slow burn. The mildness of a Camel is like no other, and I mean trust us when we say that your throat will thank you later. Don't believe us? Ask your doctor what brand he smokes. A recent study said that most doctors prefer and recommend a Camel. If you don't already smoke Camel cigarettes, just try one. You can always go back to your old brand. I mean, that is, if you can bring yourself to do it.
So, a lot of people knew about the Al Capone that had a bootlegging kingdom and was the leader of a vicious mob. Can you talk about what the generous Al Capone did?
Wait. Oh, of course I will. I tried to do a lot of good in my life. Actually, during the Depression, I created a lot of soup kitchens in Chicago streets. If you stood at the beginning of the line and looked down, the line would go forever. It was filled with people. If it wasn't for me, those people would have starved to death. I like to know that I saved more people than I killed, or than my gang killed, actually. I would also donate a lot of money to churches and schools. I remember sometimes I'd pay for people's hospital bills if they were shot or something like that. It's really sad that people never knew the type of stuff about me.
What made you want to create soup kitchens in Chicago? You probably had enough problems to worry about with the law of gang problems, right?
I never really had gang-related problems, or law problems. If something did happen, it wasn't that big of a deal. I kind of just brushed it off. Nothing really bothered me. I wanted to create soup kitchens because it really hurt me inside to see people who aren't living life like I am, suffer in the streets without shelter, food, or money. People were barely surviving, and I wanted to be a part of helping out in the city. I needed to do something.
Well, that is a wrap on our interview. Thanks, Al, for letting us interview you today, and we learned a lot about what happened to you, your reasonings for doing the things you did, and all of your experiences. Hopefully we'll get to talk again soon. Thanks again to all our listeners, and make sure to tune in again next week for another NYC radio broadcast. I'll see you there.